What's going on, everyone? This is Alex, USA Days. So one of the questions that I've been asked is what QA automation testers do. So I'm going to answer that. I'm also going to grab some of the points from ChatGPT to help me with answering this question. But first, I want to do a quick announcement. So I'm planning to create a list of questions and answers for preparation for a manual QA interview. And I'm gonna add this and as part of my Patreon for the $2 subscribers. So if you're gonna follow the link in the description to my Patreon, there is a $2 quality cadets right now per month. This tier includes Patreon feed, behind the scenes contents, update, previews, upcoming projects, polls when there are ones. Also, adding to this very basic subscription, I'm going to have a file that will include QA interview, manual QA interview, or like general QA interview questions and answers. This will be based on my like 10 years of experience working in QA, interviewing dozens of candidates working as a QA manager. Plus, also like the recent trends in the industry, what is being asked right now during the interview. So I'll have a set of questions and set of replies. It's going to be available as a file with the very starting subscription to the Patreon. I'm gonna work on this next week, so it's gonna be available, and then you can prepare using this question and answers for your next QA interview. Okay. So now to the topic. What does a QA engineers do when they work in automation? So some of the things that ChatGPT suggested is doing task planning. So automation testers collaborate with QA team and development team to create comprehensive task strategy and plan, determine which test cases can be automated and which ones should be executed manually. They work on test automation framework. They design, develop, and maintain the test automation framework. This includes setting the right automation tools, creating reusable test scripts, and establishing best practices for test automation. Test script development. So obviously you have to write automation. So automation testers write and maintain test scripts, then can simulate user interactions with the applications. These scripts may cover various test cases, such as functional, regression, performance, and load testing. Test data management, manage test data for automation testing, ensuring that data is consistent, accurate, and available when needed for test execution. Test execution, so automation testers execute automation test scripts to verify functionality of the software. They do CI/CD integration, so set up automation for CI/CD. Test maintenance, so when the project gets updated, you also maintain and update your tests. Do performance testing, so may also do performance testing, measuring load tests, assess application scalability, responsiveness under different loads, do cross-browser testing, so automate across different browsers, reporting documentation. Automation testers document test cases, test results, and defects. They create reports summarizing the testing process and share them with stakeholders. Collaboration, they collaborate with developers, product managers, and other teams, members to understand requirements and user stories, clarify issues, provide feedback on the quality of the application. They manage test environments, so automation testers may be responsible for setting up and maintaining test environments that mimic production settings for testing purposes. Test automation best practices. They stay up to date with automation testing best practices, industry trends, and emerging tools to continuously improve the testing process. Training and mentoring. So some automation testers also train and mentor junior team members or develop and test automation techniques and practices. And overall, automation testers play a vital role in ensuring the quality and reliability of software products by automating repetitive testing tasks and providing fast and consistent feedback to the development team. So I agree actually with all of the points given. So I just wanted to add, so if you're just trying to start as an automation QA engineer and you never did any automation, you just started working on a tool, learning a tool, try to join a team or a company, talk to a company that already has an automation test in place. So your first job going to be mostly working with other test automators, editing and updating test cases on already existing test framework. Because when I've been doing automation, like most of the time, I would work in a startup that doesn't have any automation set up. So one of the responsibilities you might get when you work in an environment like that is that you have to figure out everything from scratch. So basically, you have to select a framework that will work for your particular project and product. For that framework, you will also have to work on most feasible test cases and test cases for automation, what they will cover, how long they will run, some sort of a reporting that will come, how the developer is going to know that their testing fail. So the whole cycle for end-to-end testing, when the deployment happens, you have to go kick out automation. It will have to run through your test scripts that cover end to end. It will have to send and generate a report. And if something fails after the new build is being done by developers, they will immediately know that the code they deployed introduced some regression, some issues, or it didn't. So I think it is going to be a lot easier if you're just looking to get in the automation. Like this is your first automation job and you did a manual QA for a little bit, is to find a team or a project that already has all of that thing set it up. Because otherwise, if you're going to be starting from scratch, you might face a lot of issues. Setting up the environment, understanding how to set up the reporting, and sometimes you might even not knowingly pick a tool that you will start doing automation with, only to find out, couple weeks into the effort of bringing everything up, starting doing automation, configure reporting, that this tool doesn't really work for your product for whatever reason. Maybe you have multiple pages, multiple applications you have to do to go through end-to-end scenario. Maybe there's like some pre-setup and tear down that is required that you won't be able to set up. So even though I agree with everything that ChatGPT says, I just wanted to warn you, it's a lot easier to start working in the environment when there are already experienced automators and there's some automation in place. So you can start by kind of editing and learning the framework, then just doing everything from scratch. But other than that, like if you talk about daily things that automators do, so they do participate like regular testers, like in stand-up and team discussions on what is being implemented right now, what kind of features team is building, and then you'll have to kind of understand what of those features can be automated, what is stable and robust. It's not flaky. It's going to be there for a long time. It's not like something that's going to go away in a couple of months. So then around that, you will build a feasible amount of tests and prioritize them and put them in your automation test suite. Then, as your automation test suite grows, you will have to spend a lot of time also managing it. So application changes, maybe there are going to be some test data changes, maybe there are going to be different responses. So you'll have to do all those things. Normally, if you work with automation on a web-based application and there's some API, most likely you'll have to maintain two sets or maybe multiple sets, but kind of two sides of automation. You will have to maintain the UI side of it. So going, clicking on like elements, verifying the results that everything is coming back correctly. But you also might need to set up some sort of automation for API. So making sure that on the back end, you send an API request, you get a proper response. So those will kind of go hand in hand. Obviously, you also need to understand you can't grow your automation continuously, like you can't automate everything. In the ideal world, that's probably possible, but in the world of startups where everything is changing too fast, everything gets updated very fast, having a robust automation that, maybe it takes some time to execute, maybe you can start running some tests overnight, but overall, you can't just keep on adding and adding and adding all the time, because you're going to end up with very flaky, very fragile automation. You would rather focus on automating things that are very repetitive and take long time to execute, making sure that your tests are robust. And then manual QA should be focused or more like fragile or kind of quick to verify things. And also things that are critical, I think they should be done both by automation. So automation should go and do the testing for critical things, but also manual QA have to pay attention to the critical things and try like different scenarios, do some exploratory testing around areas that are critical to the business, and maybe automation keeps on running through the same scenarios, but some new variables might be introduced, and if they are introduced, automation might not catch them. So that's the role of like more of exploratory testing for manual QA engineers to go and kind of see, okay, if I'll do this new thing, or if I'll work with this plugin in my application, if it's gonna break or not. So yeah, so expect to maintain test suite, update test suite, keep on adding test cases, be up to date with the team progress, prioritize what can be and should be automated, and continuously kind of take care of your test suite. Also, the reporting, and I mean, there's always a balance, right? So automation has to be balanced with a good coverage of manual things. Automation is for things that are very repetitive, and automation is good because it gives very fast feedback. Normally, gives a fast feedback for scenarios that already working and proven to be stable. So when the feedback is provided, we know it's good deployment. There's no regression, but things are out new features. I would consider manual QA going through them first, and then you're just picking out of those. Yep, that's it. Thanks for watching. This was Alex USA Days, and bye bye.